Let me double check here that everything's working properly. Cool. So I will just jump right in. Hello. This is Ableton's Wavetable synthesizer. It's part of their instruments that come in with Ableton Live Suite. You do have to get the higher version, the higher level. Ableton sells some levels. So you do have to get the higher level of Ableton in order to open this or to be able to download this instrument. But I think it's something that is very, very worth it. And that if you do have it, it's something worth exploring. So just jump right into it. The Wavetable synthesizer, as the name says, it's just Wavetable synth. So if you see this section here, you can actually, hold on, let me just make sure of something. Cool. If you go here, you can see different waves that you can scroll through. So right now this is a regular sine wave, and if you sweep up or down, you can go through one combinations of sine of waves, but also go straight into, for example, this is a triangle wave, sawtooth, almost square, or back to sine. It has a lot of different banks that you can go through, different collections and banks. Is, for example, amber, cobalt, charcoal. Like, it's just, they have a whole lot of things in here that you can go and explore. You even have noise for people that are into that sort of thing, which is me. You can just go into whatever bank and choose whatever sound you like. Scroll through them, find something you like, say this one for example. You can stay there. With each wave and with each position of the wavetable that you're going into, you can. It gets very gritty, but I like it. And you can go under as well. Which is usually very harsh, but noise is cool. You can go to classic for pulse width, modulations, syncing, or you can go to modern for warping and folding. Same type of wave folding that you would find in Buchla synthesis. So I'll stick it with just the normal sound. You have two oscillators, so you can do the exact same thing you do with oscillator 1, you can do it with 2. And you can also have a sub oscillator, which you just control the tone, which is just the basic waveforms, the basic shapes. You can sort of scroll through them. You can't see it, but you definitely hear it. You can change the tone of that. You can change how much under you want it, or if nothing at all. Just doubles it. At the gain, you can also transpose, but this is not for the sub. This is for the whole synth. Going into the this section here, you have the filter. The filter, you can choose what type of filter you want. So if you want to cut up from here, it was like, okay, you can do whatever you want. This very interesting. You can morph between low pass and band pass. So you have this little cool effect of going from low pass to band pass. If you keep it sort of in the center, you can hear the modulation. But this is just a filter. You can change the slope. You can also change the filter emulation. So you have the clean Ableton native filter. You can also go to, say, the Oscar filter that I'm explaining, which I really like. It's very beefy. You can see that the drive shows up. Drive that the live filter doesn't have, but the MS-20 certainly does. So you can up the drive. Some dogs around me. That's very awesome. It's very great for my stream too. It adds a bit of depth. Cool. Moving on, you can see the mod sources. So this is, you can notice you have an amplitude envelope. You have two free envelopes, which are not being used for anything right now. You also have two other foes, which you can do everything that you would want to go in for the LFO, but we'll go into that a bit later. For the amplitude envelope, it's just a regular envelope. You have a whole lot of them. For the amplitude, you always start at 0. This is how amplitude envelopes are. But for this, you can indeed change the starting point, and then go from there. The way you route this to anything is through the matrix, which is the next tab over. But before going into that, let's see what the LFO1 and LFO2 is all about. You have different shapes for the LFO. So you have sine wave, triangle, sawtooth, square, and random, which is essentially just sample and hold, which is not routed to anything right now, so you won't be able to hear the effect. So how do you go to, for that, you can change the amount. You can make it dimmer when it's nothing. You can blow it up to 100. You can change the shape of it. Kind of just curves it along and offset the wave. Up to a full 360. I don't know why you want to go to the full 360 if you can just go to the original one, but Ableton is, you can do whatever you want. And here is how you route it. So everything here are sources of modulation, and here are the targets. Sorry. So say we want to take the LFO1 and route it to the pitch. Well, that's just as easy as telling Ableton how much you want to modulate. So you can go all the way up or all the way down. Again, it's a very small amounts. That's the pitch for both oscillators. We'll see you have oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. Whatever parameter you touch, it's the parameter that's going to show here. Anything that has a little box around them when you touch it. So for example, in D2, you see a little yellow box show up. That's something you can modulate, and you're going to find in the list. So you can modulate the second oscillator 2 pitch to get that little face. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Just give me 1 second. Make sure I don't clip. Guess this one thing about this. Sorry, it's very, very happy. It's a very, very happy synthesizer, and it clips very, very fast. So we gotta be very mindful with that. Because Ableton has, it really lets you just really blow it out of the water. You can also put those envelopes to work. So say we want to modulate the frequency of this filter with it. Let's make it a harsher wave. But it's very detailed. I like it. If you want to change this with, say, an envelope, you just have to touch it. Shows up in your list, and you see right it's envelope 2. Let's make it open up a bit on envelope 2. So then you can go to your envelope tab and make it do whatever you want. We can start and close up a bit more. Cool. Finishing up here, you have volume control, which you saw me use. You can also change it to a monophonic synthesizer, which opens up the glide. You can make it glide, which works very nice for bass sounds. Well, maybe not that slow, but you can switch it back to polyphonic. I'll go back up in the octaves, make sure it sounds nice. You can change the amount of voices that you want on it. You cannot change the glide. No portamento, no polyphonic portamento on it, unfortunately. You can have unison, essentially just replicating your voices and detuning them a bit to create that spatialized effect. So if you go to classic, you can hear that effect immediately. You can change the amount of voices with the amount of effect that you want. You can go through all these little options. You have random noise. Noise is actually really nice. It just makes it noisy. It's a good sound, especially for beats, for like that EDM vibe. If you go for that. In the matrix control that didn't go through, you can also route your MIDI or your aftertouch, which is that MPE just lighting how you press it, which is for keyboards that have that availability of extra modulation or extra expression, I guess you could call it. But you can also just route regular MIDI stuff. So right now, this is the mod wheel. You can change anything with your mod wheel. I'm doing that with my mod wheel, my keyboard. Well, it wouldn't make sense because you have a pitch wheel, but you know you can do whatever you want. You can open and open and close the filter. Anything that shows up in this matrix, it shows up in all the other matrices as well, so you can modulate them. And yeah, that's basically it. It's just a very interesting little element you can play with. There's a lot of things that you can do with it, and especially if you have Ableton already, you're looking for new sounds or cool stuff that you can work on. I suggest you check the Wavetable out. If you don't know where to start, you can always look at the presets. They have a whole lot of them because it is Ableton, so they give you a lot of presets. So you can just scroll through them, see what they did, tweak some stuff, get into learning, and it's pretty fun. So cool.